Hey, this is Buck Dharma of Blue Oyster Cult, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Today's show is brought to you by uppercutchops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged USDA prime Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, and, of course, the king of all those gigantic cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Best I've ever had, probably be the best you ever have as well. Check them out at uppercutchops.com. That's uppercutchops.com, or give them a call and find out what's for dinner at 714-948-0100, 714-948-0100, again 714-948-0100 for uppercutchops.com. Yes, that's good stuff, folks. Man, that's good stuff. All right, a big welcome in everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast, all our independents. Also, everybody watching on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, and WOW Cable Television in select markets, Hotel TV in all Nielsen rated markets. And, of course, everybody on Chicago Food Favorites that's watching us over there, and also on Get Notified when the Sports Circus goes live. That's also on Facebook. Make sure you check that out, folks. All right, you know, there's been a lot of to-do made about the whole Richie Incognito thing, and, well, it was the whole bullying thing. It goes back about 11 plus years. I mean, the whole thing is just lunacy in the first place. These are big boys. You're talking bullying of, 350-pound humans and all this other crap. And, of course, here we go in the news again. Yet, former NFL lineman Richie Incognito lashes out on social media after Dolphins bullying scandal resurfaces. Shut up with this already. Really? Yeah. Anyway, staff writer will give you, Mr. Ian Castleberry, the credit for this nonsensical, in my opinion, story. Nearly 12 years after former Miami Dolphins offensive lineman Jonathan Martin and Richie Incognito dominated the NFL headlines with a bullying scandal, the story has resurfaced and reopened some old wounds. Why? Because they got nothing else to talk about. I think that's really what it comes down to. Anyway, scabs have been ripped off, he says, exposing hard feelings that still exist, at least from Incognito, who claims that reporting on the story threatened his NFL career, which my opinion is I happen to agree. Now, during, of course, the 13th season, if you were around back then, you probably were. Well, the 6'5", 315-pound Martin took a leave of absence from the Dolphins, allegedly due to bullying and teasing. Shut up. Give me a damn break. That's right, 315 pounds, 6'5". This guy is worried about being bullied? Is that what this is all about? It is, in my opinion, absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, reports indicated that behavior directed at Martin went beyond rookie hazing and crossed the line with various threats and so forth. Incognito, then a 7-year veteran, was identified as the main culprit, and the Dolphins eventually suspended him indefinitely for conduct detrimental to the team. So apparently, let's go back. Because Mr. Castleberry stated, Mr. Castleberry stated that reports indicated that behavior directed at Martin went beyond rookie hazing. Now, wait a minute. Isn't hazing technically illegal or conduct detrimental, blah, 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 in the first place? Is that what this is all about? But wait a minute. If that's the case, it says went beyond hazing. So what they're saying is hazing, apparently, is acceptable. Thank you for clarifying that, Mr. Castleberry. I don't know if you realize that, but you opened some pretty big can of worms there yourself, buddy. Anyway, Martin, who is now 35, returned to the headlines with a ESPN.com profile that caught up with him 10 years after he retired from the NFL. And a Stanford alum, Martin is now pursuing an MBA at the Wharton School of Business, of course, at the University of Pennsylvania. And he's still trying to put his football days in the past while moving on to another stage of his life. Okay. Yeah. This guy apparently had his feelings hurt so badly it went beyond rookie hazing, if you will. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but however, of course, in the Four Letter Network story, he had said, quote, "I never believed for a second I was being bullied." Yes, you heard that right. Oh, by the way, close quote. Yes, you heard that right. Adding that he's been trying to fix the story for 10 years. Now, of course, Richie Incognito had said on X, he had said he couldn't cut it in the NFL, so he quit and his mom blamed me. Legacy media pushed this narrative long and far. Too bad it was all a lie. They lied to protect his money. He quit. The team had every right to claw back the money. His mom started the bullying narrative with ESPN and Adam Schefter, so the Miami Dolphins wouldn't go after his signing bonus. Now, that is according to Richie Cognito on X. And folks, I happen to absolutely 100% buy and believe what Richie said there. Because let's face it, some kids get pushed around. Some kids, they cry about it. And when you're 6'5", 315 pounds, you're not supposed to cry about this. You're supposed to get out there and do your job. You're a paid professional and just get out there and act like it. But instead, apparently, in this case, in my opinion, because I have to state it's in my opinion, mommy had to protect this little boy. How ridiculous is that? And then again, what Richie had said may be true. What Richie had said, that the team had every right to get back that money. And remember, it was about potentially, I don't know, according to Richie, the signing bonus, which was a lot of money. So was Richie right in the whole thing? I don't know. Let's read on. From Mr. Castleberry, the staff writer that seems to like to open wounds because there's nothing else to talk about, apparently, in the National Football League. Yeah, whatever. That admission by Martin, of course, that, I don't really see anything about bullying with this. That admission by Martin sent Incognito on a social media crusade after the article was published just recently. The former lineman who retired from the NFL after the 2020 season went after ESPN's Adam Schefter and Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio, demanding responses to Martin's comments after the two reported on Incognito's role in the bullying scandal at the time. Quote, "You tried to ruin my career over a lie," close quote. Incognito wrote to Pro Football to their X account and said, quote, "You tried to ruin my life over this bull, beep," close quote. And he responded to Schefter, "You've always been Bush League," he said, to the Palm Beach Post reporter, Joe Schad. Oh, that's right. So you see, it sure seemed like those two characters in the eyes of Richie Incognito and the opinion. I tell you what, I'm buying this one. It seems like those guys had nothing else to talk about. Well, let's pursue this bullying BS, whatever the hell it was. I don't know. Anyway, Incognito also posted several photos of him with Martin that appeared to be friendly and contrary to what he referred to as the bullying narrative, which he claimed was created by Martin's parents. Quote, this is, by the way here, Incognito wrote in another post on X, quote, "He couldn't cut it in the NFL, so he had to quit. So he quit and his mom blamed me. Legacy media pushed the narrative long and far. Too bad it was all a lie. The lies to protect his money. He quit. The team had every right to claw back the money. His mom started the bullying narrative with Adam Schefter so that the Dolphins wouldn't go after his bonus," close quote, which is what I read previously. But Incognito obviously feels he was wronged. Though Martin's remarks don't necessarily absolve him of the abusive behavior that was reported. And Martin doesn't speak highly of Incognito in the ESPN story, and says he hasn't spoken to his former teammate in years. Incognito went on to play 3 seasons with the Buffalo Bills, during which he was accused of using certain slurs against a particular opponent. Another one with their feelings hurt. Mercy. After sitting out the 2018 season, Incognito returned to play 2 seasons for the Raiders. During that span, he received a 2-game suspension for violating the league's personal conduct policy regarding an incident at an Arizona funeral home following his father's death. Incognito officially announced his retirement a couple of years ago. Well, look, when you lose a family member, people tend to say things sometimes that don't necessarily fit everybody else's narrative. And guess what? It's his father's funeral, and he could do exactly whatever the hell he wants to. And if you don't want to be there, get the hell out of there, because you don't belong there in the first place. And so this guy got another 2-game suspension for apparently violating this personal conduct policy when it's a family issue in a private, closed situation. How the hell is that? It sure seems to me like the NFL and ESPN, the 4-letter network, was bullying Incognito as it stands. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it because as I see it, look, I have been victimized by the 4-letter network in my own way, and I got no love for those guys, and it would sure seem to me, it's my opinion, that they ganged up on Incognito. And let's see if we can get Incognito on this show to talk about it, because I would absolutely go to bat for this guy. Folks, we're going to be back here in a few minutes on The Circus. Lots more to come. Don't go anywhere.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates across North America, with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at
714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100.
Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
Could you use a little extra money right now? If you'd like to borrow up to $100,000 and get pre-approved in minutes, call the number we'll give you at the end of this commercial. Our lending partners have already loaned millions of dollars to individuals just like you, and we're ready to lend you up to $100,000 if you qualify. Even if your credit is not perfect, you could use the money to pay off high-interest credit cards, for home renovations, or consolidate existing debt. You can get flexible, easy-to-pay terms. The consultation to find out if you qualify is free. To find out if you qualify for our special financing program, call this toll-free number 24 hours a day. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. That's 800-335-1376. Important terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Loan amount, annual percentage rate, and term will vary depending on creditworthiness. Applying does not guarantee approval. Account approval is subject to verification and confirmation of your credit history and acceptance by a lender. If you choose to apply for a loan through us, a consumer report will be obtained to evaluate your creditworthiness in connection with your application for credit.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UppercutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UppercutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UppercutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average and best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UppercutChops.com or call
714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100.
or make your selection directly at UppercutChops.com.
back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. This segment brought to you in part by our friends over at the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. Yes! All right, welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents from coast to coast, including our friends over in Honolulu on CBS Sports 1500 KHKA. That's home of the 49ers, Yankees, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Welcome into everybody else up and down the West Coast on our independents. Those of you that may be listening in on one of our network affiliates over there, thank you for that. Throughout the heartland, all the way down to Auburn, Alabama, WAUD, home of the Atlanta Braves, 1230 on the AM dial. Big hello to our friends over in Atlanta, WDJY 99.1 FM, plus everybody else in all corners of the earth for all you flat earthers out there. All right. And also, by the way, Chicago Food Favors, thanks for joining us there. And get notified when the Sports Circus goes live on Facebook. Folks, make sure you check out both of those on Facebook. That's Chicago Food Favorites. And get notified when this show, the Sports Circus, goes live. All right, sticking with the NFL, how about the Bengals? And they have sort of a conundrum with T. Higgins, and they're not really sure what they're going to do. So they say, you know what? Problem solved. We're going to go ahead and slap the old franchise tag on this guy for the second consecutive year. Yet, they're eyeing what? A long-term deal, as they should be, because they need a number 2 receiver. And, of course, the Bengals receiver, T. Higgins, is expected to play under the franchise tag for the second consecutive year. This one's according to SI, Sports Illustrated. How you like that? And the tag will reportedly be the non-exclusive version, which means other teams could still offer him a contract that Cincinnati could either match or let him walk in exchange for a first-round draft pick. And honestly, it's going to cost a fortune to keep T. Higgins around. So you never know what's going to happen with the Bengals. I mean, I think a lot of it happens to hinder upon what's going to happen with the upcoming NFL draft. You never know. However, there does appear to be a difference in the team's approach with Higgins for the upcoming season compared to last year. Now, unlike the previous contract standoff with the 5-year pro, the Bengals intend to sign Higgins to a long-term deal after tagging him. And that's, of course, again, according to Sports Illustrated. So the two sides have basically a couple of more weeks or so to negotiate some kind of contract before deciding to apply that tag. And honestly, they're probably going to come to it. I mean, last season, look, behind Jamar Chase, this guy was one hell of a second option, 911 yards, 75.9 yards per game, 109 targets, 73 receptions, 10 touchdowns, and a partridge in a pear tree. But the team also intends to sign receiver Jamar Chase, as we know, and pass rusher Trey Hendrickson to long-term deals. So the Bengals are going to be in spending mode. I wonder if the Cincinnati Reds are going to be in spending mode when it comes to Ellie De La Cruz. Another topic for another day. Anyway, Higgins, look, this guy's only 26. He had a pretty good season last year. But if he was, imagine if he was a number 1, he would probably have as many targets as Jamar Chase. Now, is Jamar Chase better? Probably. That's why this guy's a number 2 and Jamar Chase is a number 1. Chase is really good. Really good. And, of course, Higgins was limited to 12 games. He did have 9 starts, but he had a hammy problem and a quad and an ankle injury as well. But in 5 seasons with the Bengals, and let's face it, guys caught 330 passes, 95 yards, and 34 touchdowns, providing a potent receiving threat for the quarterback, as we know as Joe Burrow, alongside Jamar Chase, who is coming off a Triple Crown season where he led the NFL in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns. Those are pretty damn good stats. We're going to give Jamar Chase that round of applause. Now, both Burrow and Chase have been quite vocal in their support for bringing back T. Higgins and locking him down in long term. As a matter of fact, Joe Burrow had said, quote, "You don't want to make a habit of letting great players get out of the building. T is a great player and a guy that does everything the right way. He works really hard for it. He's one of a kind person, one of a kind player." Close quote. Attaboy, Joe. Way to go to bat for your boy. Gotta like that. Now, Higgins, of course, a 2020 second-round pick from Clemson, also recently changed agents and is now represented by somebody else Well, we don't want to say them because they're not paying us, if you know what I mean. Why would I do that? But a franchise tag would guarantee this guy $26.18 million just for 2025. That's right. Can you imagine what, 10 odd percent, maybe even 20% going away to the agent? This guy's still going to clear $20 million. He's going to gross over $20 million after paying the agent. And what's the tax ramifications? I guess depends on where he lives, if you know what I mean. But ultimately, what's going to happen? Well, this guy's going to make $20 million this year for playing 17 games of football. How do you like that?
Show me the money!
That's right. Last season, he earned only $21.8 million under the franchise tag. So he's getting a $5 million raise, even still being under that franchise tag. That tag is, boy, it sure went up in value. How about this one? How about Trevor Lawrence? Yes, Jags quarterback Trevor Lawrence. He did actually address some rumors of maybe being traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers, but he says, nope, I'm happy here in Jacksonville. And he had said, quote, I know that we weren't involved in the conversations about that, but as far as the Jags in Jacksonville goes, I don't know about the Steelers' desire or wants. Well, guess what? Close quote. And Jacksonville, look, they say we want to keep this guy, but Trevor Lawrence has no desire to leave Jacksonville. A few days after the rumors that the Pittsburgh Steelers were seeking a trade for that 25-year-old quarterback. Why? For all you Justin Fields people, but you could call him Bustin' Fields. Well, guess what? That guy obviously is not the guy the Steelers thought here. It's like the old Dennis Green thing. They are who we thought they were. Well, Justin Fields, you are who I thought you were. Give me a damn break. You think the Steelers actually, they were silly enough to think that Fields was their guy? I mean, come on now, folks. Seriously? I don't really think so. I don't think so at all. What a colossal waste of money, time, and effort. The Justin Fields experiment in the National Football League is going to yield this guy as a slot receiver or something, a wildcat quarterback, maybe like a Taysom Hill for the New Orleans Saints. But Justin Fields, buddy, I don't think you're going to make it as a quarterback in the league unless you maybe go to the Canadian League or something like that. I'm not really sure. Nonetheless, Trevor Lawrence, back to him. He addressed the rumors on an episode of a particular show recently, saying that the Jags were never planning on trading him, although he claimed not to know if Pittsburgh's interest in him was genuine. Lawrence made it clear that he plans to stay in Jacksonville in the long term. In fact, he had said, quote, I have no idea. I know that we weren't involved in any conversations about that as far as Jacksonville goes. I don't know about the Steelers' desires nor wants, close quote. Now, Lawrence said that he had heard about the rumors from his agent who texted him about the report. And of course, Trevor said that he was just as surprised at the report by anybody else. He also said, quote, it's funny, when he sent it to me, it was like, I wouldn't say your heart drops, but you're kind of like, what? Close quote. So Lawrence remembered that he has a no-trade clause as well in the contract. And he had said, quote, I would have known about it if I was getting traded. If that was something that was going to happen, I'd have to be on board with it, which I'm not. I'm happy here in Jacksonville. We want to win a Super Bowl here, and I think we could do that. I don't want to leave Jacksonville. I'm happy here, obviously. Not going to Pittsburgh, close quote. And there's the explosion again. Listen, it's not going to happen. And see, the thing is, Pittsburgh needs, in my opinion, they need a pocket passer. You got all these people saying, well, you know, you need a run-pass option guy and blah, blah, blah. I don't believe in that. Look, a quarterback is supposed to do what? Stay in the tackle box, right? Stay between the tackles. That is the tackle box. Not wander out of it. You can move the pocket, but Trevor Lawrence is a big kid and he can't run, but he is the prototypical quarterback. This is the guy that says, first of all, I will beat you with my arm, and if I have to beat you with my legs, just like Josh Allen, I will beat you with my legs. But this guy is a pocket passer, and he is a very, very good one. Jacksonville's got their guy. Why would they send him to Pittsburgh? To make life easier for Mike Tomlin? I don't think so. I mean, look, since the Jags don't currently have a general manager, Lawrence said his agent reached out to the Four-Letter Network, and that same guy that we mentioned in the previous segment, that guy who seems to allegedly have the scoop on reporting everything. Whatever, dude. Seriously.
Shut up! Shut up, son!
Really? Nonetheless, but that guy, he seems to talk about all these trade rumors and whatnot. And of course, Trevor added that Jacksonville's new head coach, Liam Cohen, messaged him to say the Jags had no plans to trade him. As a matter of fact, Trevor had said, Liam texted me actually the day after it came out. Liam said, shouldn't even have to say this, but that's not coming from us. And I was like, yeah, I figured. He didn't even have to send it. There was no doubt on my side, close quote. Of course, as those alleged rumors circulated, the Jags told the four-letter network that the idea of trading Lawrence was ridiculous and said that they never had a conversation about that potential trade. Now, of course, when pressed by Adams on, well, let's just say today, Lawrence said that he appreciates Pittsburgh and the coach, Mike Tomlin, but that it doesn't serve as a temptation to him to leave Jacksonville. In fact, he had said, quote, I like Coach Tomlin. He's a good guy, but no, I'm set here. We love Jacksonville. This is hope for us. And there's a lot more on the football side that we have yet to accomplish here. And I'm excited about what we're building. The future is very bright. And I want to be here, and I want to be the guy for a long time. Close quote. Now, Lawrence, of course, signed that 5-year extension with the team last year for $275 million with $142 million guaranteed. Listen, man, that's a lot of lettuce. This guy ain't going anywhere. Pittsburgh, keep dreaming, and you better go poach somebody else's quarterback. Back here in a few minutes on the Circus. More football to come. I'm your ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Hello, Americans. It's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a variety of new rules and is offering more flexible terms to help Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. If you apply today, we may be able to lift your wage garnishments and release a freeze on your bank assets or business. Our team of tax professionals can resolve your case and stop collection actions against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, they can help. Call right now and find out if you qualify to settle your IRS debt for far less than what you owe. Pick up your phone right now and call us for a free $500 IRS tax review. Don't wait. Here's the number.
Call right now. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. For the last time, that's 800-950-2049.
Do a search on how to get out of credit card debt, and you'll find everything from crazy promises to ways you can try to do it yourself. Many of those ideas just don't work, and they leave you broker than you were. Here's some advice. Call our debt helpline. In a quick and free 5-minute conversation, our experts will listen to you and learn about how much credit card debt you have, what your goals are, and then show you the right solution to help you get out of credit card debt with one new simple, affordable payment. The credit card companies make available special programs to help if you're struggling. All it takes for you to finally get out of credit card debt is one quick, free phone call. So please call right now.
800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. That's 800-948-6817. Paid for by the Debt Helpline.
That's ridiculous.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. This segment brought to you in part by The Sports Circus. Make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guests, our prior shows. Folks, in case you're just tuning in right now, we did a show last week with Big Papi David Ortiz. Well, that was pretty cool. And also with the great Don Beebe. Don Beebe is the guy that knocked the ball out of Leon Lett's hand in the Super Bowl. You may remember that one. Don was the first guy to appear in 6 Super Bowls. 6. That's right. That's crazy. The very first guy to do it. And also, we even did a show with the great Jose Rijo. Jose is a great friend of the Sports Circus, World Series champion, World Series MVP, and he's just one of those guys. Cincinnati Reds, the long shot, they came in and swept the Oakland A's, the big bad Oakland A's, in 4 games back in the 1990 World Series. Great stuff, great shows. We got a great one coming up tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you about it. You'll see a press release out on it with a couple of superstars and a student athlete, and I mean a big one. Imagine the scope of 6'7", 345 pounds at 17 odd years of age. That is insane. So you'll be reading the press release on that one, folks. Boy, this is good stuff. All right. Welcome back to everybody on TV and radio. You know who you are. Thanks for joining us again on Chicago Food Favorites. Also, get notified when the Sports Circus goes live. Both of those on Facebook. Make sure you follow and like them as well. All right, sticking with the NFL. And, of course, we're removed from the Super Bowl. But, of course, $66 million cap numbers means that the Chiefs will need to redo Patrick Mahomes' deal pretty darn soon. I don't really think that's going to be an issue. Now, do you? I don't really think so. But, of course, as the Chiefs finish their 3rd straight season of playing as late in the calendar as possible, they once again have limited time to take care of early offseason business. At the top of the stack, of course, the future of tight end Travis Kelce, whose retirement would create both a giant hole in the starting lineup, but a $17.3 million cap space opening. Not far beneath items A, of course, is the contract of Patrick Mahomes. Now that, let's face it, he's getting deeper into his ultra long-term $500 million deal. The cap numbers are going up. For 2025, it goes up to $66.258 million. Of course, that'd be $66,258,000 for those keeping score. Anyway, they'll need to chop it down just a bit. Of course, they'll surely get that done. And before the 2023 seasons, after the Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow signed that then record deal, the Chiefs reworked Mahomes' contract to ensure that his cash flow exceeds all others as of June 2024 in the 4 years from 2023 through 26 and the 4 years from 2024 through 27. The simplest path to reduce, well, is the Mahomes cap numbers come from a simple restructuring. And that's really the easy way to do it, folks. Not that we really have a say in it, but his total 2025 compensation, believe it or not, of $49 million plus $1 million workout bonus? What? $1 million to work out?
Show me the money!
Yeah, apparently they did. That could be shifted to a guaranteed payment with his base salary drop to the minimum of $1,255,000 by giving him a $47.745 million restructuring bonus and spreading it over 5 years. Mahomes' 2025 cap burden would be $11,800,000. Coupled with past bonuses, his cap numbers for 2025 would be $28 million rather than $66 million in change. So it would be a temporary fix, of course, and the revised deal would bump his 2026 cap numbers to $78,213,000. That's right. Next year, they could do the same thing with his $55.75 million or $55,750,000 in salary and roster bonuses. But of course, kicking the can down the road only goes so far. Every time the future cap goes up, the payments go up, everything else kind of goes up. And look, the Chiefs surely have some kind of a long-term plan for this. But here's the funny thing about this. Actually, it's not so funny. We think back to the whole Enron thing. You may have heard of it, right? That was the whole manipulation of accounting and manipulation of numbers and the generally accepted accounting principles, which accounting and the CPAs and whatnot are actually bound by. Well, through the Internal Revenue Service, there is an issue with this. And when we think of the generally accepted accounting principles and what's going on in the professional sports, such as baseball and basketball and football, namely, not so much hockey, what we're seeing is a manipulation of the numbers in a very similar way as I see it. Now, I don't know if this is the truth, but as I see it, look, I have the same damn skills as a CPA, same damn skills. I just didn't sit for the test. And I can tell you that from what I know, it seems to me that the manipulation of the accounting standards, the generally accepted accounting principles, are alive and well here. And this is exactly why after Enron, there was something called Sarbanes-Oxley. These compliance measures were put in place. So you might have seen something somewhere that says SOX compliance, SOX compliance. Doesn't mean White Sox, right? No, it's not White Sox, but it's Sarbanes-Oxley accounting principles compliancy. And so the problem is the way the numbers have been manipulated for the last several years in baseball seems to be falling in line with the reason exactly that Enron, opened up some giant holes in the accounting world, as I see it, of course, just my opinion. And what's worse is that the professional leagues may be manipulating tax code and accounting principles in the same exact light. So you look back at that Ohtani deal, $700 million. Look at the Juan Soto deal, $765 ridiculous dollars. And now take a look at this Mahomes deal as it's maturing. Well, what we're seeing is kicking the can down the road, and you can only manipulate the tax code and the accounting principles so far before you start to walk that gray line. I believe in my mind that they're already walking the gray line from an accounting standard. And some people are accusing, in Major League Baseball, accusing the Dodgers of just that, of essentially financially cheating the salary cap and the measures. In the same way, I guess you could say that the NBA players with those ginormous, ridiculous contracts, these supermax deals, in the same way that the NFL, they seem to be, in my opinion, of course, they seem to be manipulating the tax code and the accounting principles for their benefit. So the people that say the Dodgers are cheating, maybe from those third level market cities. And what are those, for example, those teams in the third markets? Well, look, the Oakland A's were one of them, right? They're in a big market with small money. The Kansas City Royals are a small market team. The Minnesota Twins, a small market team. And this is what you got to look at, folks. Those teams seemingly have limitless dollars when it comes to the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Metropolitans, but you can call them the Mets or the Bo Sox. Well, the reality is, or even the Phillies, the reality is it just seems to be one big shell game financially. So you say, well, what are the Chiefs going to do? I don't know. They have some plan to keep Mahomes in line. And of course, they'll probably do something like Ohtani with some big deferment or whatever. But is that really fair to the rest of the league? What about the New York Jets? What about those guys? What should the Jets do at the quarterback position? Well, they can't. It's not that they can't afford to do a Mahomes kind of a deal. Maybe they have, who knows? Maybe they have a different set of standards. Maybe they have a different set of morals and ethics. Maybe they have a different set of accountability. I don't know. I don't work for the Jets. But I will tell you this much. It sure seems to me that the Kansas City Chiefs, Kansas City being a small market team, yet with a very big bankroll, it sure seems to me that they are going to get remarkably creative in a way that, for example, the Dodgers and the Yankees do, and all these other organizations. It seems like they're going to get creative in that point, and they're going to make a deal happen one way or another with, that's right, with Patrick Mahomes. Is it fair? I don't think it's fair. Should it be allowed? Absolutely not, in my opinion. But then again, what do I know?
Stop it!
That's right. I say stop it because I think you're ripping off the other teams, and it's unfair business practices. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Well, speaking of the Jets, really not knowing what they're going to do with their biggest need, looking for a quarterback. These guys are in big trouble because, let's face it, Aaron Rodgers really doesn't want to play there anymore. He's not going to play there anymore. And what are they going to do? I mean, look, there are people available in the draft, but the draft is not really a quarterback-heavy draft. But I'll tell you what, the one guy that should be given some real consideration in the NFL draft should be Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart is a smaller version of Josh Allen. He's a big kid with a big arm. He runs the ball like a fullback. And this kid is no joke. Jackson Dart is probably the dark horse in this whole NFL draft, this upcoming draft. And this guy should be taken off the board ahead of Cam Ward and ahead of Sanders, only because this guy is a true pocket passer that can run in the same way as Josh Allen can. Because when he gets out of the pocket, all hell breaks loose. We'll see what happens there. When we come back from break, we're going to shift into college basketball, and we'll see what it looks like in the rankings and as they move forward towards March Madness. Lots more to come here on the Circus. Don't go anywhere.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. That's 800-932-5517.
If you served in the Marine Corps, by now you know about the contaminated water problem at Camp Lejeune. If you were stationed or worked at Camp Lejeune from 1953 to 1987, you probably have a lot of questions. We have some answers. You could be entitled to compensation. Billions of dollars are being allocated to pay for damages to anyone stationed at Camp Lejeune during that time. Unfortunately, it appears that officials may have known the contaminated water problem existed and did little to protect their men. The Semper Fi code was not honored. If you or someone in your family has developed a serious illness, including various forms of cancer, call this Camp Lejeune legal support line right now. You can't turn back the clock and change what happened, but you can certainly call right now and learn your rights as a Marine. Here's the number.
Call 800-335-7196. 800-335-7196. That's 800-335-7196.
Do a search on how to get out of credit card debt, and you'll find everything from crazy promises to ways you can try to do it yourself. Many of those ideas just don't work, and they leave you broker than you were. Here's some advice. Call our debt helpline. In a quick and free 5-minute conversation, our experts will listen to you and learn about how much credit card debt you have, what your goals are, and then show you the right solution to help you get out of credit card debt with one new simple, affordable payment. The credit card companies make available special programs to help if you're struggling. All it takes for you to finally get out of credit card debt is one quick, free phone call. So please call right now.
800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. That's 800-948-6817. Paid for by the Debt Helpline.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Urlacher. Welcome back to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Folks, make sure to check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guests or prior guest recorded shows, which could be found on Apple, Amazon, Audible, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, Stitcher, Deezer, you name it, we're there. You can't get away from us. Also, make sure you check out the store. Lots of great items over there on the store, from knit hats to sweaters and t-shirts and sweatpants and hoodies and coffee mugs, travel mugs, mouse pads, you name it, pillows, they're all there, folks. And also the partners page, lots of great partners. One of those, this one is for you in Chicagoland. It's Al's Number One Italian Beef at 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. Al's Number One Italian Beef, 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. If you can't make it over there for some great food, check them out at alsbeef.com and learn about the history of the Italian beef sandwich. A lot different than that awful Philly cheesesteak sandwich. This is real cooking versus the frying, that garbage they make over in Philadelphia. Sorry, Philadelphia, it is what it is. I know that you guys listen to us too, but the Philly cheesesteak, it's absolutely horrific. Kind of like New York pizza. Same thing, if you know what I mean. Nonetheless, folks, make sure you go to alsbeef.com, read about the history. This is the creator. 1938, they started business. They've actually had this created from his uncle. I want to say from Bones' uncle. It was probably, 1920 something or another? Whatever the hell it was, in the 1920s. Anyway, check him out for the story at alsbeef.com. That's alsbeef.com. And no, we don't get anything for saying this. Oh, hey, they're paying him a lot of money. No, they're not. Now, occasionally we might get an extra French fry or two, but hell no, we don't get anything for saying this. These are our friends, and we love the food, and that's why we talk about it here, folks. It's best beef Italian beef sandwich in Chicagoland, so get over it, folks. It is what it is. All right, moving on. College basketball. Lots of great things going on. How about Duke and Cooper Flagg? Man, that guy is easily, in my opinion, the best player in America. Cooper Flagg should be the number one draft pick in the upcoming NBA draft in just a few months. This kid is legit. Man, is he good. Watch out for Cooper Flagg. He's going to come to an NBA team near you. How about Illinois, which I mentioned in yesterday's show? It was the botching of the jersey retirement for Terrence Shannon. And, just a quick summary on that real quick. Look, why should Terrence Shannon get a jersey raised when guys like D. Brown and Deron Williams, they didn't get theirs? What about the great Eddie Johnson? These guys didn't get theirs after many more games played in that Fighting Illini jersey. But somehow Terrence Shannon Jr. gets one? What kind of garbage is that? That's ridiculous. And so what if it was upside down? They should have hung the damn thing upside down in the rafters in the first place. Because if D. Brown and Eddie Johnson, Deron Williams, and the other guys, Kendall Gill, there's another one. Those guys didn't get a jersey hanging in the rafters down there in Champaign-Urbana. Why the hell should Terrence Shannon Jr.? How do you think? How about number 25, Maryland, drops 101 on Iowa. That's the most they've scored in a Big Ten game since joining the Big Ten in the first place. Oh, that's great stuff. And how about the old R.J. Lewis Jr. and St. John extending their Big East lead with that really important win in their last one over the Creighton Blue Jays. I'll tell you what, that is a very, very good St. John's team. Michigan State and Tom Izzo, of course, he breaks Bob Knight's record in the Big Ten for total wins. And Bob Knight, I'm sorry, folks. Bob Knight, one of the best that's ever walked the court. This guy was incredible. Remember, because of Bob Knight, you got a guy like Mike Krzyzewski, who is the all-time winner in college basketball history. Most games won. And it's because of Bob Knight. That's right. He used to play for Bobby Knight when they were at Navy. Or actually at Army. Strike that. Sorry, Navy people and Army people. No, it was at Army. Bob Knight was the coach over there. But the point is, when you look at what Bob Knight did at Army, then combine it with what he did at Indiana, Bob Knight still has a lot more wins than Tom Izzo. And then one of my favorites, of course, was Seton Hall stunning UConn twice with thrilling last-second shots in a 69-68 win and forcing overtime. Look, those guys, UConn, they're really reeling. Let's take a look at those rankings as they stand right now. Starting out number 25 is Louisville, remains unchanged. And, of course, up next for them is Florida State, staying within the Southeast Conference. And those guys are loaded. Ole Miss dropped 5 slots down to number 24. Up next for them is Vanderbilt. Boy, that's no easy task over there in Nashville. Kansas dropped 6 slots in the Big 12. Of course, down to number 23. Up next for them is Brigham Young. Memphis drops 8 slots. Boy, this is a wild week in college basketball. They dropped 8. That's right. With that loss to Wichita State, that sure didn't help them. And believe it, when you look at these standings and these rankings, you scratch your head and say, well, guess what? March Madness is right around the corner. This is the kind of stuff that happens. The Bulldogs of Mississippi State jump up to number 21 with their 81-71 win against their cross-state rivals. Up next for them is Texas A&M. Maryland jumps up 5 slots to number 20. Up next for them is USC. It's hard to imagine USC and Maryland in a conference game. That's just, to me, that's is ACC against the Pac-10 or Pac-12, whatever. Now it's the Pac-2 or Pac-7.5. I don't even know what the hell it is. But anyway, looking on, it is Clemson at number 18. First of all, Arizona is 19th, and those guys are still playing right now. But Arizona dropped 6 slots to number 19. Clemson, number 18. They jumped up 5 slots to get there. Up next for them is SMU, and that's a game coming up on Saturday. Kentucky dropped a couple of slots, of course, with their loss to Texas. Up next for them is home against Vanderbilt, and that's going to be tomorrow. Marquette jumps up 2 to number 16. Up next for them is a broken Coke machine. Missouri up 6 slots to number 15 with their win against Georgia. Up next for them is a very, very good Alabama team. And that's going to be at home, though, so Missouri's got a real shot there. Michigan State drops 3 to number 14. Up next for them are the Purdue Boilermakers, who are right above them at number 13. Boy, they took a couple on the chin this past week. It wasn't pretty, but guess what? Purdue is still probably the odds-on favorite to win the Big Ten, despite everything else that's going on in the Big Ten. So up next for Purdue, of course, is Michigan State. And then Michigan, get this, you got 4 Big Ten teams back to back to back. Actually, 4 of them. That's right. Michigan at number 12. They jumped up 8 slots. Of course, they had a lucky win at home with an extra 20 fouls called against Purdue, somehow magically up at Chrysler. If that's the home court advantage, I suppose, and we're giving them an astounding round of boos, because I don't think Michigan belong in that particular role. But whatever the case, they jump up to number 12, 8 slots. And up next to them is Michigan State. That's no easy sled for them, and it's going to be Michigan State playing at Chrysler as well. So watch out, Michigan State. Sparty, you're going to get called fouled left, right, and center. 11, Wisconsin. Yes, in Wisconsin, with that 10-point win at West Lafayette, they jump up to number 11, up 5 slots. Up next for them is Illinois with the upside-down jersey. St. John's drop down to number 10 with, of course, despite their win at Creighton, they still drop down 1 slot. Up next for them is perennial doormat in the Big East, being DePaul. And DePaul's out of Chicago, and I just don't know why they don't drop out of the Big East in the first place. They don't belong in that conference. Texas Tech jumped up 3 to number 9. Of course, they had a really big win against Oak State. They beat Oak State by 38. That was a good old-fashioned ass-whooping. Up next for them at TCU over in Dallas. Iowa State jumps up 2 to number 8 against Colorado next, and that's going to be tomorrow. As a matter of fact, those guys are 20-5. Texas A&M, number 7, jumped up 1 to number 7. They had a 8-point win against Arkansas. At Arkansas, up next for them is Mississippi State. Tennessee drops 1, Rocky Top down to number 6. And up next for them is Texas A&M next weekend. The Houston Cougars jump up 1 to number 5. Up next for them, they beat Arizona, by the way. Up next for them is Arizona State. Alabama drops 2 with their tough win at Auburn. They lost by 9 to Auburn, who is the number 1 ranked team. And up next for Alabama is Missouri, as we mentioned before. Duke remains unchanged at number 3 with their easy win against Virginia. Up next for them is, yes, Illinois. Florida jumps up 1. They somehow got ahead of Duke. I'm not really sure how that happened. Florida goes to number 2, and it was probably because they had a real nice win at South Carolina. They won by 21. Up next for them is Oklahoma and Auburn, number 1. All right, War Eagle, what do you got, WAUD? We'll give you guys a nice round of applause. Everybody listening in Auburn, Alabama, also from Montgomery over to Columbus, Georgia. And it's the Auburn Tigers at 23-2. Those guys have Arkansas next, and that is the total of your rankings. Let's run over to the conferences real quick. In the American East, it's Bryant leading the way at 11-1 over the Maine Black Bears at 8-3. The American has Memphis 11-2, and the North Texas Mean Green at 9-3, along with the UAB Blazers 9-3. And the Atlantic 10 is George Mason at 12-1. Boy, those guys are pretty damn good. How about Loyola Ramblers? They're still sticking around, but Virginia Commonwealth is one game behind George Mason at 10-2. The ACC's got Duke at 15-1, Clemson at 13-2. Moving on, the Atlantic Sun has Lipscomb at 11-3, tied with North Alabama 11-3. Both even overall as well, too. The Big 12, Houston Cougars 13-1, Texas Tech and Arizona both at 11-3. Over at the Big East is St. John's 13-2. Creighton is 2 games behind them and has a tiebreaker. Then the Big Sky, it's Montana 1 game over the Northern Colorado Bears. They're 12-2 versus 11-3. The Big South has High Point 11-2. You're going to see these games, folks, in your brackets. You're going to see these teams, so you're going to have to know who the hell they are. It's High Point 11-2. And UNC Asheville, the Bulldogs, are 10-2. So they're 1 win, a half a game ahead, being High Point is a half a game ahead of Asheville. The Big Ten has Michigan at 12-2, Michigan State 11-3, Purdue 11-4, Wisconsin 10-4, half game behind them, Maryland 10-5, UCLA 10-5. Moving on, the Big West has UC Irvine, the Aardvarks, the Anteaters at 12-2, tied with the University of San Diego Tritons. Actually, UC San Diego Tritons. How do you like that? And Cal State Northridge at 10-4. And it's the Coastal Athletic. It's Towson. You're going to see Towson in the brackets, folks. And NC Wilmington 13-1 and 11-3. Over in Conference USA, Jacksonville State 10-3. Horizon League has Cleveland State 12-4 over Robert Morris. Ivy League, the Yale Bulldogs undefeated 9-0. The Metro has Quinnipiac. The Bobcats at 12-3. You'll see them. The Mid-American is the Akron Zips. They're 12-0 right now. Who knew? The Mideastern is Norfolk State 8-1. You'll see them. Missouri Valley, Drake, Mountain West, New Mexico Lobos, of course, over the Utah State Aggies by a couple of games. In the Northeast is Central Connecticut, and in the Ohio Valley, the Southeast Missouri State. Patriot League has American Eagles, and of course, you've got Auburn in the Southeast Conference at 11-1, with Alabama 10-2, Florida 9-3, Texas A&M 9-3, Missouri 8-4, Tennessee 8-5, Ole Miss 8-5. The Southeast Conference is absolutely loaded. Southern Conference, Chattanooga, the Mocs 11-3, tied with NC Greensboro. McNeese in the Southland and Lamar, they're in a dogfight, but looks like McNeese is going to get this one. Southwest has in the SWAC Southern, in the Summit St. Thomas, in the Sun Belt Arkansas State. The West Coast has St. Mary's showing the way over Gonzaga. That's right. And in the Western Athletic Conference, it's Utah Valley over Grand Canyon by 1 game. You'll see these teams in the tournament brackets, folks. That's going to do it for the circus today. I'm your Ringmaster Sal. We'll see you next time. So long, everyone.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. That's 800-932-5517.